welcome to another episode of the PH Journals podcast, our Sunday discussion. I'm joined by a client turned friend. We've had an incredible couple of days. It's been a 9-day safari, and we've had some remarkable hunts. I'm joined here by Chris Driggers. Chris, welcome. Thanks so much for doing this.
I'm glad to be here.
Just before we get into it, just tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and obviously what brought you to South Africa.
My name's Chris Driggers. I'm from South Georgia, a little town called Glenville, middle of nowhere. Just like most people that's never been here, it's just a dream. And you work and you work and you save and you figure out what you want to do, and life's for the living. So I planned on being able to enjoy Africa. So me and my mother both started putting money back to instead of buying Christmas presents, and we're gonna build memories instead of buy gifts. So me and my mother came, and we've enjoyed a absolutely phenomenal time.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we've had some very, very special moments. So we started off with the basic package, but like most people, get overwhelmed when they get here.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious to know some of your animal selections, especially the Barbary sheep. What brings you to selecting these sort of species? What attracted you at first?
Well, a lot of like the Barbary sheep or the Aldad is something that I've always thought was a magnificent animal. You see them on TV hunting them, high altitudes, rocky terrain, just tough hunt, and I enjoy the challenge. I believe that things that you have to work for when you're done means a lot more. Hence our phenomenal kudu hunt. But it's just a beautiful animal, and to take the chopper up to the top of a mountain, and the whole experience is what it's all about. And I mean, it was remarkable. So
no, that's awesome. I mean, it's definitely a special hunt. I mean, they're tough animals. They're living up there in the high altitudes and stuff, so the altitude gets you a bit, but it was remarkable. We spotted them from quite a ways from where we actually could land the chopper, and we sort of got into a sort of platform where they funneled in, and it was absolutely incredible experience. Just so, I mean, I've done Barbary sheep so many different times before, but that was a really unique experience. But just the whole thing, comparing South African hunting conditions and comparing South African species of animals and stuff, how does it compare to what you used to hunting back home?
Well, I mean that's kind of like comparing fishing in a pond to fishing in the ocean. If you're used to pond fishing where you've got 3 or 4 species in a pond, and you go out there and that's what you get. Well, when you're in the ocean, you never know what's going to bite the other end of the line. Same way here. Back home, if I'm elk hunting, I'm elk hunting. You may see a mule deer. If you're whitetail hunting, you may see turkeys, you may see hogs. You literally do not, you can't understand until you hear. When you round the bend, you may see 3 species, 10 species. There's just, the amount of game is just unreal. And the diversity. I mean, you've got plains game, you've got mountain game, you've got just, how do you call it? The curl horn, or the, what do you call the spiral horn? I mean, just there's so many different things. And we don't get that back home. I mean, you go for a species. I mean, you're going elk hunting. Now this is very similar, the terrain, to like high desert elk hunting, like what you would do in New Mexico or something, Utah. But I really enjoy it. It's challenging, and I like to be challenged. It's not, sometimes I thought, well, maybe we'd just be driving around and stepping out of a truck and shooting an animal, and that's not what it's about. I mean, there's real hunting that goes on. It's the Barbary, I can't never say it, an Aldad.
Yeah. Order.
We get up to the top of the mountain. It could have, within a matter of seconds, went to a botched hunt that we'd have never got a shot, to within a couple of seconds, it was one of the best hunts I've ever had in my life. So.
Yeah, and I mean, but compared to, for instance, like Texas and that sort of stuff. I mean, they've got a variety of species as well, but not the volume. But the hunting's different.
It is. It's totally different. Yeah. I mean, it's flat dirt.
Yeah.
Now they do have. I mean, the way the trees are. I mean, everything's rough and tough and dry and hard, and everything seems to have teeth and claws on it. When you walk by it, it either grabs you or pokes you or sticks you or. And Texas and New Mexico's the same way. And Texas has a lot of different game species.
Yeah.
But being able to find a high altitude spot where you can get up on the mountain and glass down and make a good plan on how you're going to approach this hunt, it isn't like that. You're hunting senderos, food plots, feeders.
Okay.
Where here, these animals live here. I mean, they get feed. They may get feed in the worstest parts of the season just to sustain life, but it's not a normal thing.
Yeah.
So these are all free range, free graze animals. Where if you're in Texas, I mean, they're driving down through the middle of these senderos, pouring corn out behind them.
Okay.
And the animals step out in the sendero, and you shoot him.
Yeah.
Totally different kind of hunting. I mean, a lot of similarities. Sometimes you're driving on a buggy, and you see them and you shoot them from the buggy or make a short stalk. But to compare the two, it's kind of difficult because I mean I do both of them.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. But this was my first trip to Africa. It will not be my last. Like I said before we leave, we're gonna go ahead and make some reservations so that there ain't no second thoughts on it. But everybody needs to enjoy this.
You want to come back. You want to come back and what from being around here now, having the certain experiences you've had. What would you look, or what do you think you could add on as a next time?
Well, there's an extreme amount of game, so it'd be very difficult to check every box in one trip. I mean, I don't know how many species of animals are here on this ranch and the other ranches and everywhere. I can't even fathom the actual amount of animals, different species that I've seen. And what's so strange is there's a thing for everybody. Like I said, when I came, like we talked about, we had a basic package, and that package changed because there was certain animals that I really wanted to take, and there were certain animals that at the time that wasn't as important. Well, now that I've got the animals that was on the top of my list, the animals on the top of my list has changed. So now I got a new list. So I would definitely love to come back. And like I said, I didn't think I wanted any of the wildebeest. They just it was in my mind was like hunting cows.
Okay.
I get here and I see the way they react and the mannerisms that they have and their own unique personality that the blue wildebeest has to the black wildebeest, and just the way they act. I'm intrigued to kill one now, so I was going to go ahead and kill one this trip, but I wanted to kind of make it like a grand slam thing next time. So I didn't. I held off from killing one because next time when I come, I want to kill, multiple ones. I want to kind of, and I mean, it's probably not going to be an easy hunt. I want to, I'm willing to take my time. I'm willing to work hard to get a really good species where I've got friends of mine, that one looks good, bang.
Yeah.
And I'm not that guy. I want to savor the hunt. I mean, I want to, if I could just get out the truck and shoot him, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'd rather, if that's what we're going to do, let's go to the backside of the mountain. Let's park there. Let's walk over the mountain and shoot the same animal. So I reckon some of the things, the reason I'm coming back is and the kudu will be on my list again next year or next time. I enjoy them. They're very elusive, and within a matter of seconds, they're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it is unreal how fast such a big animal can absolutely vanish. So I got excited with the fallow deer.
Yeah.
It had me pumped.
Yeah.
He come in grunting and chasing, and wasn't on my list.
Yeah.
And now it's an itch I got to scratch.
Yeah.
And there's other fallow deer. I really want that one. He was big. He come in, and he was, the way he was acting, whether he is or not, he was acting like he was the alpha dog. He was the mature buck in that area. And that's really what I like to go after. The same way with the bull. I mean, you could really tell the way he acted, the way he presented himself. He was the big boy.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to do without to take a chance at getting the big boy.
Okay.
Well,
tell us a bit about your kudu experience, because it's easy it's easy for me as a PH to run through it, but I really want to see it from your eyes. How was it from day one? We hunted kudu hard for 3-4 days.
Well, we drove around. We seen a couple, here on the ranch, and you like him. And as a novice in kudu hunting, a small one is still a big animal compared to a whitetail hunter.
Okay.
So when you first see him, dang, that's a good animal.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, see how the tips curl in.
Yeah.
And if they're wide, if they're doing this, if they're pointing out, if the tips are still pointing out, he's way too small.
Yeah.
You want to see him roll around. So okay, so now I start learning what I'm looking for, and as we're doing our other hunts, I see a couple and I'm looking. I'm like, okay, and I start learning what I'm looking for, and I go and look at some of the mounts and things like that. And I came, and first thing I told you, I wanted how big was the kudu? 60 inches. It's like a 300-inch bull back home. You had this number, and you're like, you're in the wrong part of the country for a 60-inch bull. Yeah. And I said, okay, what is a big bull? She said, anything over 45 inches. I said, okay, I'm looking for 147 or better then. Yeah. And you were like, man, you set your goal really high. But that's, if you don't have that mentality, to me, you're going to shoot a small bull.
For sure.
So we started looking, and we went up on the top of this mountain. I don't know what y'all call the mountain. Humfle. So we go up there, and we're glassing, and there's cows everywhere, young bulls. And then out steps, you could tell he was an absolute giant. Just because the small bull looked decent, that he was with. And when he come out, he made the small bull look really small.
Yeah. And
it's always easier when you have something to compare it to, which was a good thing and a bad thing. See, I seen him, and I wanted him. And then it was going to be an extremely hard hunt. We was going to have to go down the mountain. And then Jason, another PH, was like, hey, there's one in the lands. And boy, that threw me off, the land. And I kept trying to figure out what y'all meant by the land. I'm like, man, the land's everywhere. So it's farmland, agricultural land.
Okay, yeah.
So I didn't understand that at first till we pulled up and we're looking out over farmland. So really nice bull, big body. You could tell he has been pigging out on that alfalfa because he was a huge body. But he didn't really do it for me. I was going to hunt him because, you're my PH, and I told you, I'll follow. You tell me what to do, and I'll do that. And so we gave him a few days of hard hunting, sitting long hours, just to, and we finally seen him, and he was a good bull. I said he was probably a 45-inch bull.
Yeah.
I would have took him, and we almost did. If I'd have had a minute or 2 minutes more of daylight, we would have got that hunt done. But then you asked me, what do you want to do? I want to go back to the mountain. I knew it was going to be a hard hunt, but I knew he was a bull and like I told you, I was willing to work hard. So we get up there, and we're glassing him, and we finally see him, and we're like, well, let's go. And so we go all the way down the mountain.
Because you were fighting daylight at that
stage. We're running. We knew we were running out of time. It wasn't going to be no just sit here and wait on him.
Yeah.
And I'm from South Georgia. That's flat dirt. You know,
No mountains.
No mountains. I mean, you go up North Georgia, you can find some mountains, but there's no mountains.
Yeah.
So going downhill wasn't terrible. It had my ankle sore, but so be in shape. But it was a long walk. I mean, that one day, like I told you, it was a little over 7.5 miles we walked. And I got a little frustrated. You know, we got down there, and I could see the time just ticking by.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that you're really thorough when it comes to planning, and I'm like, man, if we don't at least get a little closer, no matter what happens, we're going to run out of time.
Yeah.
And so finally, we figured that they shifted enough so that they wouldn't wind us, and we could slip down past them to get to the water hole. And we slip up on a water hole. And it was, I mean, beautiful. If we was whitetail hunting, that'd be a place you'd have a stand. I mean, beautiful water hole.
Actual water hole. Huh?
Yes, it was a beautiful spot. You know, and no sooner than we stepped up to the edge of this dam on the water hole, kudu started piling in. I mean, I was like, oh my God, this is about to happen. You know, I mean, we were close. We knew we were close, but I mean, when we started seeing them fall in, we were like, you know,
yeah, we got
this is about to go down. And I got a little nervous. And then on the other side of the dam, all you could see was his horns above the dam. And I'm like, oh my God, there he is. So, you know, and luckily, I got Jason on one side and you on the other. So I've got, a wild jackrabbit that's ready to bounce anywhere. Yeah. I mean, he's fast moving, really gung-ho at going. And you are more calm and mellow. So he's like, hurry up. And you're like, calm down, wait on your shot. So, there was a limb right in the way, and if he would have took one step, he would have come up the berm enough that he would have cleared the limb and I could have shot.
Because he was basically, sorry, just to explain, he was basically rubbing his horns, something a dominant bull would do.
In the mud, yes, just digging in the mud.
So his body position was extremely low.
Yeah. And I just needed him to kind of come up. If he would have come up, I could have shot him. And there was this really young bull, I mean like 10 inches of horn poking out the top of his head. And I don't think he smelled us. It was more like he was playing in the mud, splashing in the water and playing around like a kid. And but it boogered everything up. The cows started getting nervous, and as soon as they noticed, they felt nervous, he wasn't hanging around. I mean, he rolled and he was gone, and they followed him.
Yeah.
And then we tried to slip over and just see if we could see him underneath the what do you call these trees? Acacia trees. And we kept glassing, and we get up to this fence and we're glassing, and all of a sudden that's when we heard that fallow deer. I mean I know they grunt, but it was more like a roar.
Yeah.
I mean, he really, it wasn't no timid grunt. Even some of our, like, if you're a big whitetail hunter and you've hunted some of the Midwest states where there's really big bucks, I mean, you'll hear that roar. Yeah. And that's what he was doing. I mean, every step he was hot on a doe, and I mean, we seen him come by and he had double hand-sized palms.
He was chocolate, huh?
Well, he was crazy. He was like black across his back.
Yeah.
And then it faded into almost like a smoky gray color. It was just, I mean,
beautiful.
Just a beautiful animal. And so we knew that our hunt was kind of busted. So we was like, well, let's make a play on him. We've done hiked down a mountain. Let's see if we can make it worth our while. And it didn't work out. And we hiked out, and needless to say, when we got back, I mean, we were beat. I mean, it was a tough hunt. It was a tough hunt. And so he was like, "What do you want to do tomorrow?" And I was like, "Well, I want to go back in the morning." And you were like, "Man, I think we need to go to the land." And I'm like, "I don't want to go to the land. I really, really want this bull." And you were like, "Whatever, all right, I'm good with it if you are."
Yeah.
And so we get there, and we glass one area, and we seen the exact same cows, the young bull and the little itty bitty bull and the young bull
Yeah.
he was nowhere to be found.
Because we glassed that same area.
That same area, yeah. And expecting to see him. He being the mature bull that he wouldn't abandon his cows. And so we were kind of flustered, didn't know what to do. So we went back to another good glassing point that we had that y'all have, and we glassed. And that same fallow deer, you could hear rah, rah, rah. And he was close enough. I felt like I should be able to touch him, but I couldn't see him. And so I told you, I'm gonna go down here to this next spot down, and I mean next spot down being like 40, 50 foot down the mountain.
As steep
straight,
as hell,
yeah, very, very straight down. And you were like, no. So, like I said, you walked off, and I went on down, and I reckon I was down there, so then you had to come. And so as we were looking for this fallow, and we were glassing pretty hard.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, there was this bull was laying down
in the middle.
Open. Wasn't even hiding. And we both went to tripping. We just couldn't believe it, and you couldn't see his horns, really good. So we kept moving, trying to get a better view. And then he turned his head, and we knew without the shadow of a doubt this was the one we were looking for. And that's where it really got crazy, because we had to cover a lot of ground. We were probably at that point 1,000 yards from him.
No, we were about 480, but the thing that threw us off was the angle was so steep.
Yeah.
So we had to get closer without a doubt.
Yeah, so we went down and down and down, and really, really rough. It was no, they were mountain climbing stuff going on, and like I said, I'm a flatlander. He's, Dylan here's part goat, and he goes down the mountain like it's nothing, and so we finally get down, and we're trying to put a plan together where to shoot, and we see a good rock. He's like, if you can get to there, you'll be under 270.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. I said 270, I can make that shot. And
we also closed the angle as
well.
well.
It was starting to get a lot flatter. So, and we were shooting a 270 Howa, and with the cheap bullets. Really like the cheap bullets. I've been tripping on him the whole time we've been here. So we get down, and we're watching him, and he's facing us. And I knew, at any minute, because when you're hunting these things, it's a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
He turned his head. As soon as he turned his head, I said, he's about to leave. And before that got out, he turned and took 2 big steps, and I let it eat.
Yeah.
And before you heard the gun go boom, he was laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And we both went to looking at one another. Big grins. And it was, like I said, it was unreal. It was a lot of work, and you often think, it's just not going to happen. You're going to keep doing, because that's, back home, I hunt big deer all the time. I try my best, and I fail most of the time. It's just the way it is. So I was expecting something to go wrong, but everything worked right. He hit the dirt. We did have to go in, and I broke him down with a high shoulder shot, and so we had to go down and finish him off. And you get up to him, and every step you hear ground shrinkage. Well, this wasn't ground shrinkage. It was every step he was getting bigger and better, and just we get there to him, and his horns have still got the mud covered all over him. He's got a scar on his side where it looks like he had been fighting or something. It was unreal.
Perfect.
It was. It was an epic hunt. It was one of the ones that stories are made about, that you will tell people. My friends will get tired of hearing it. But I will look forward to telling it to my children, to my grandchildren, to my friends. It's the kind of hunt that stays with you. It's the reason I came to Africa. It's the reason me and my mother made this trip, was to make memories. And which is, to me, one of the most valuable things that you can have. Your memories is what makes life worth living. It's the things that you take with you. So not only did I kill a beautiful animal, you know, we had plenty of laughs. You know, I had you thinking that you were going to backpack this horse of an animal out of the woods. You know, I mean, it was crazy. It's just, and then the work started trying to get such a big animal out. And that's something that myself, I mean, I need to have a better plan. You know, I think there's got to be a better mousetrap to get an animal this size out. You know, back home it's packing them. I mean, everybody has backpacks, and you'll have to, you know, snatch the legs off, the straps out, you know, cape him out, do everything you're going to do, and everybody just grab a piece and you walk him out of the mountain, because it's tough. And here with the temperature, you know, being a factor, you have to act pretty quick. You know, if it's 80, you know, high 70s, low 80s, I mean, your meat will turn in a hurry. So you really got to, you know, have your idea together, get it, you know, executed, and get him on out, where you take a chance of, you know, your meat spoiling. Back home, you know, we'll be elk hunting, and it'll be, you know, it's pretty cold. He could lay there for hours, and you don't have any issue. But here,
also, you know, that animal is yours. We there's too many people that rely. I mean, you saw the guys that came and helped us. I mean, they taking the stomachs and
everything,
they're taking the heart and everything. So there's so many people that rely on that carcass to get back. It's, you know, whereas if it was just me, I would have taken the most important, like you said, I would have packed it out, packed the important parts and taken it. You know.
But here, I mean, that's feeding people's families. You know, it's a supplementary income for the ranch. It's a very important food source for the people that live around here, your employees, the natives. It's important, you know, that they have these things. And we, like we were talking about, putting a value on these animals. That's the reason that they're here. That's the reason that they're preserved. That's the reason that there's people like yourself that are watching out and making sure that there's a good breeding structure, that these animals continue for the future. It's because hunters put a value on them. And you hear about all these people that are complaining about hunting and talking, but in the same voice, they're wanting conservation. They're wanting to preserve these animals, and the only way that you can truly preserve them is to put value on them, because if they have no value, then they're trash. And you can look at some of these other countries that has stopped allowing the hunting to take place, and you look at the decimation. I mean, just the animals are no longer available. And so by doing that, you know, and it being a vital, important part of the community, it holds not only a trophy quality for myself and hunters like me, but a resource. So I mean, even back home, I mean, it is when we go hunting, I mean, it's food on our table. It's not only just the going out for the trophy. It's a staple. It's a lifestyle for a lot of people to be able to partake in eating, you know, such a wonderful wild animal. You know, they're great table fare. I mean, them kudu steaks the other day. Oh my gosh. So many people, like we were talking about, if we could figure out how to get the meat back to the States, the quality is just unreal. You can't buy this, you know, grown on in a little pen. I mean, it takes a certain environment to build this kind of animal, and it's just a complex taste. It is so good, and there's none of the hormones and preservatives and all the stuff that they put in them, that, you know, I know especially in America, I mean, it is a sought after, you know, we're eating better, and you can't get much better than off the hoof and on the plate.
Damn straight. But so Chris, just your all round experience, Hunters Hill. Well, if you had to put it into words, how would you describe it?
absolutely phenomenal.
So,
This, I had big expectations.
Yeah.
And y'all have went so far above that. The professionalism, the kindness, the courteousness. I mean, I'm not exactly probably the easiest person. I'm not the one that's going to come in and, I know I've probably been aggravating you. I would rather, I don't sit still very well. I like to be doing something. I mean, I'd rather go help you dig a ditch than
put lights
up or whatever. I mean, truly. But not only that is, I feel we become friends. I hope so. I hope it's a friendship that'll last for forever. And that's what I have a desire for, is I want to be helpful. I want to be, and I'm the same way at the house.
Yeah.
I like to do for others. If you want true pleasure in the heart, it's done by charity.
Yeah.
If you can do for others and you can help out, and you'll just, I mean, it to me carries a lot of weight. I think that you and all your staff here has done a phenomenal job. You are so courteous and nice, and it's kind of strange being waited on. We're not a my culture. It's about the closest thing that I get to waiting on me is my wife. She is gracious and fixes me a plate and stuff like that. But we get up, get her done. And so to come to such a nice place where the staff is so willing to go above and beyond, to be able to go out and hunt all day and not have to worry about coming back and doing your laundry, that they're going to tighten the room up and wash your clothes and have it ready for you. It's really, really nice. It lets you focus on more of the things that you come to Africa for. So I mean, the experience is surreal.
Just get rid of the blackjacks next time.
Yes, my heavens. Just anybody, if you're listening and you are thinking about coming to Africa, get tall boots. You want them to at least come well above the ankle. I come in and I reckon I should have done a little more research. I thought it was going to be more savannah style and not much as the mountains.
Yeah.
So I wore some lower boots that would be cooler and easier to walk in. But you need some good boots, and if you don't have any, Dylan will hook you up. He's got some nice ones here. But wear some good boots, get some gaiters. That if you don't have any, same way, he'll have you some here. But I put some on your socks. If these things get in your socks terribly, you might as well take them off and just throw them away. But they're like, we call them beggars back home, but they're everywhere. It's like they farm them. But they are. It is. Everybody, it's worth, if you can make it happen. I'm sure that it's a dream that's outside of some people's budget, and that's a shame. I mean, it just is what it is. But if it's in your budget, if you can skip on a Disney World trip or doing something for the 5th time, put that money back and give Hunter's Hills an opportunity to show you a trip of a lifetime that you will never forget. I mean, the sunsets here are just amazing. There's no city lights. There's no traffic, no honking, no sirens. There's none of that stuff that
we have got the lions roaring.
But you got, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, there's lions roaring. You may hear zebras running around your chalet. Maybe even an occasional rhino in your backyard. But it is unreal. It is an experience that if you only do it once, if you can manage to only do it once, you will remember the rest of your life. It will be something that will shape who you are. It'll help define your understanding of how great of a planet we live on. And there's so much out there to do, and so many people will not. They refuse to get out of their bubble.
Yeah.
And
safe zone.
And it's, you meet great people. and it's just like I said. My opinion, I have made a friend for life. I hope that one day I can return the gratitude of you coming to the States and let me show you a good time as you have shown me here. But if I can't talk you into it, I'm still coming back. So.
Okay, well, Chris, before we close off, just a quick one. Everybody, you know, the whole COVID thing has been blown out of proportion, and,
Yes.
and a lot of people are really nervous to travel. You flew Qatar. I would love you to tell everybody at home how easy, or if it was easy, and how your experience was, because I think that's extremely important going forward.
Okay, well, we'll start off. I'm not necessarily downing anybody. We started off with our flights through Delta.
Yeah.
And was having some extreme issues. They wanted to reroute us into Amsterdam, and we didn't really want to go to Amsterdam. It was, you know, changing seats, a lot of things. Well, so we found a flight from Dallas to Qatar through Qatar Airways, and we still had some issues with some plane issues from Delta getting to Dallas. But after we got on that plane for Qatar Airways, as I said, your service here was impeccable. Qatar Airways, it is unreal how nice, how courteous, how well ran this company was. I mean, they were polished.
Okay.
We flew business class, so we could lay down. You know, we had a 14-hour flight. So Qatar, I mean, their cheap seats are better than a lot of people's first class seats.
Oh, really?
I mean, this plane is impeccable. You've got a 19-inch TV screen. You've got a bed. We ate duck and rack of lamb, okay, on an airplane. That was a 5-star restaurant quality. Everybody was very courteous. They wasn't in your face. They wasn't screaming at you every time that you wanted to breathe without your mask on. We had like a little cubicle. They would shut the door. They left you be. We got out. We paid the little bit extra to have a escort from the plane through check-in to the lounge. And these lounges are, I mean, they had fine meals, snacks, sushi. I mean, it was like going into a really nice restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was pro bono. It was, I mean, there was no extra charge. This was, because you were flying business class, you get to go in here, you chill out till your next plane gets there. They escort you back from there, back to the plane. If you have to go through customs, if you have to go through checkpoints, they speak the language, they know the people, they walk you right through. Worth every dollar, and it was not a big expense. And for everybody out there, if you can get to Dallas, if you're from the East Coast, and it's way cheaper, for us to leave from Atlanta to Joburg was going to be $7,000. For us to fly from Dallas, from Atlanta to Dallas, Dallas to Qatar, Qatar to Joburg, $3,000.
Jeez.
So a huge difference. And we went from sitting in a small chair on Delta to laying down, eating a rack of lamb and duck with Qatar for half the price.
And as far as COVID testing and all of that in the States compared to I know you guys are going up to the Kruger, so it changes a little bit. But from when you were in the States, what was required?
72 hours.
Okay.
Like I said, you go to your local doctor, tell them what you're doing.
Yeah.
Before, there's a plan that goes on here. So there's a lot more you have to do than just get let me rephrase that. There's a lot more you should do than get a COVID test. Go to your doctor, tell him what your plans are. He'll start setting everything into motion. He'll tell you that you need your malaria medicine. He'll tell you need your hepatitis shots. He'll tell you need your typhoid fever shots. So, and then you'll go to your local area that does these, that gives you these shots, and a lot of them's 2 to 3 dose increments. So you you will have to go, and then a month later you'll go back, and then so it's a process. So don't think that you're going to get on the your computer today, book a flight next week, and come over to Africa and go hunting. So be prepared to take the necessary steps. Talk to your doctor, find out what you need. And it's not hard. It's just, you just got to go through the steps. You go 72-hour COVID test, and it has to be a PCS, I think.
PCR.
PCR test, yes. It has to be that one. It can't be the rapid test. So you get it, and as long as you start your flight, when you leave and you get on your very first airplane, has to be within 72 hours. After you get on the plane, now, if you fly guitar, it'll run all the way through till you get here. Unfortunately, if you go through Amsterdam, it's 72 hours before you get on a plane in Amsterdam. So if you mess around and your time elapses before you can get back on your second plane in Amsterdam, when you offload and then inload in Amsterdam, if you have a layover, they could hold you up in Amsterdam and make you take another test before they allow you to fly out.
Because they're almost a day ahead of you guys.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So you got to be careful of how it's going to lay out. But everything, we didn't check any weapons. We didn't check a bag. Everything we used was carry on. We had 2 small suitcases and 2 book bags, and we knew we had we had 5 flights. So we had to change planes 5 times to get here, and I was afraid that
getting lost somewhere,
that something would happen, or we would have a delay and miss a plane. So and it worked out fine. Like I said, our laundry is literally washed every day. Yeah. So if you could come with 2 outfits and never have to wear anything dirty. Yeah. But we had plenty. Everyone at the I don't know how it wound up, but as Afton Lodge picked us up from the airport. We stayed the night there, and then your guys picked us up from Johannesburg or from East London,
yeah.
And it worked out seamlessly. So I've been, when we get back to Afton Lodge, we'll be leaving to go to Kruger National Park.
Yeah. When
we come back, Afton Lodge will carry us to the COVID test, get us tested, and then carry us to the airport. So it's I don't know if y'all are partners, you and Afton Lodge, but it works out really good the way we're doing our trip. Y'all working
we've done
together.
A lot of business with Afton. I mean, they're really great guys to partner with them. They've done exceptional work, and they look after the guys, which is awesome. Yeah. But Chris, sadly that brings the end to the show, and but I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. And I'm so glad that we've had an incredible time. Like you said, we made a friendship that will last a lifetime. I mean, I don't think I'll ever forget some of these hunts that we've done in a very, very long time.
I'm glad.
I'm really looking forward to the future, and if just for the guys out there, I know you're quite visible on Facebook and other social media platforms. Where can they see you? What have you got going?
You can look me up on Facebook, Chris Driggers, or Flatwoods Outdoors, Flatwoods Archery, Flatwoods Outdoors. I post a lot of live videos.
Yeah.
I'm learning this WhatsApp thing. I've used it before with some of my military friends if they've been overseas, but it's been a couple years since I've used it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to get with this WhatsApp so you can communicate pretty good back and forth. If everything works good, I'm part of a TV show called The Rush.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of hunting. I've been absent from them for about 2 years now. I took over my my stepdad's business, so business has been really, wide open, a lot of work going on, and so last year we hooked up with them in Ohio and done some whitetail hunting, some filming there, and so hopefully we'll try to get the TV show to come here, and maybe you'll see some African hunting on Old South Georgia Boy on Sportsman South or one of the other TV shows. If we can get everything to work out, I'd love it. That'd be a good time. And
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Just a big shout out to Trees and Camo, Splitting Image Taxidermy, Max's Tires. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, I would appreciate the like, subscribe, and just share it with a whole bunch of friends and everybody. But Chris, once again, thank you so much, bud.
And again, those Max's tires,
yeah,
absolutely phenomenal. This is the roughest country that you could ever put a tire through. I mean, the rocks and stuff, and them things hold up. I was afraid we was gonna be changing tires on the regular, and them things have been absolute monsters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very, very, very impressed.
Cool.
And Toyota, if you can hear me, we want the Toyota Land Cruiser in America, just like they make over here, so that we can enjoy such a phenomenal vehicle as well. Because that thing is a bad boy.
Yeah.
You've got a phenomenal setup. I mean, top to bottom, I loved it.
Thank you.
So,
appreciate it. Awesome.
Thanks, sir.
Well, Chris, thanks so much. Cheers, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Cheers.